Hey everybody, Kenny here. So this time I want to do a kind of lessons learned video about the build I tried going for this league. Since I feel that even though this was a failed build, like there are takeaways from it that I think people can gain value from. So primarily, the biggest takeaway from this, the major mistake I made, was that I didn't pay enough attention to what the new league mechanic was when it was announced. I was so focused on the fact that they said, oh, we got 2 new skills coming, and let's go, awesome, new skills. That's all I care about. And they're for melee, awesome. I'm so focused on that I didn't catch the part in the whole Sanctum chat regarding that the way it worked essentially made it that melee builds were going to be worthless. So I went into this league, big melee in my heart, as I primarily do, because I love doing melee builds. That's if I can get away with it, I try to do every build as a melee build, unless like these skills I want to try just don't make melee a big part of the way that a good build would work that way, But in this case, the league is entirely based around playing a build that lets you deal your damage without being there. So, summons, traps, curses. If you can create a build that does its damage while you're in a different room, then you are going to go very far with the new league mechanic. If you try to go melee, you are not going to get far at all. Now, maybe there's a way to do it. Maybe like if your build is entirely centered around dealing melee damage using travel skills, like you're constantly just like quicken, smack, gone, like just in and out super fast, like you're just always on the move, never stopping. Maybe you'll be able to get by with a melee build in that situation. I actually have a flicker strike build that's going to be coming out. I think it's the first week of January that's coming out. Like at this point, everything's merged together. Like I spent so much time getting content uploaded to make sure I had enough stuff on my channel for a while I was gone. I don't even know what's there anymore. But I have a flicker strike build coming up at some point, and that would probably work really well for the Sanctum, just because you have a way that you're able to get in and go. But unless you're doing something like that where you don't have to consider where you're going to be when an enemy attack goes off, then you do not want to be playing melee this league. And I say that with a heavy heart because I love melee. My favorite character of all time is my Berserker, and that will always be the case because I love Big Bunk. That is my thing. I am a D2 barbarian plebe all the way. Like I just it is my style. I love it. So I don't want to tell people that they shouldn't play melee, but it's just the way that this mechanic works. You're not going to make it very far if you do melee. But, you know, like, so so that's just a lesson learned for this league. Pay attention to what it is that, you know, the way that the league mechanic's going to work, and pick your build accordingly. You know, don't pick something that, because let's be clear, like the way that the Sanctum works, enemies have very, very large telegraphed attacks. So it's not that they're difficult to dodge. It's just that if you're playing a melee build, then you, because of the fact that you have to get in on them and attack, even though, like, you know, their attacks are so big and you're able to see your openings for getting in and out. As a melee build, you know, like if you've played melee in this game before, you know that, you know, like, you're going to get hit. That's the style of gameplay. You know, like, you're taking the risk of getting in and getting hit to deal your damage. You know, it is the, how would you say? It is the, not archetype. It's the paradigm. There we go. That's the paradigm, you know? So, yeah, so, like, you got to think about some stuff like that, like when it comes to, like, the way the way that the league mechanic works. Obviously, for something like, what was it called? Ultimatum, or Scourge, or even Expedition, like any of those, like, you know, like, you didn't really need to think out, like, what your build was going to be, because the league mechanic made it that no matter what it was, your build was going to do pretty good, because, you know, it's all about just, can you kill the stuff? You know, like, you getting hit didn't take away the rewards, but here it does. Like, you know, if you're getting hit, then you are failing. That's just the way it is now. Like, so for me, like, I skipped the Sanctum for, like, starting in Act 3 all the way until I got here at Act 6. I skipped the Sanctum because it wasn't worth it for me to do it, because I couldn't get far enough in using my build. Now, obviously, I could have tailored my build. And when I say tailor my build, I mean, like, tailor my gem setup so that I was doing stuff like just using, I have like a Hydrosphere here and a Holy Flame Totem. I could have just, you know, like, made it that I was always just setting stuff down and, you know, running away. But, you know, like, I didn't make a Guardian to to drop totems, you know. That's not why I'm playing this character. I'm playing this character because I wanted to get in the enemy's face, and I wanted to bonk as hard as I could. Which, by the way, if you're interested, the new melee skill Volcanic Fissure is actually very cool. Like, it is the, if you've done Act 4 and you fought Dressel and Calm, this is the skill that Calm uses. So it's basically like a super version, like a much superior version of Molten Strike. You can see it does a nice big pop out of the ground, bunch of little orblets jump out and do area damage to anything in that spot. It's a fun skill. I recommend using it. The Val version, very cool. Actually, let me just build some up to show it in action, just because, you know, like I said, I'm not recommending this build. It's just, I really like the way this skill works. Everything die. I need some souls. There we go. Oh, not enough yet. There we go. I've built up enough. Got a big group going. Hello. I guess this scoop's pretty big. Yeah, we could do better. Here we go. Got so focused on wanting to look at the the animation that I died. Yeah, it's a very cool, like the Vol skill. The Vol version is one of the coolest like Vol abilities that in the game right now. Like I definitely recommend, you know, trying it out. A very fun little animation for that. But this build itself isn't good. It's not a good build. Like I have to have, you know, forget the name of this, Hydrosphere. I have to have Hydrosphere. I have to have my totems. I have to have my molten shell set to my movement. I need to have all of my I need to have all of my auras. I need to have a Battle Mage's Cry with multiple spells on it, and you know, and being set off by my Volcanic Fissure. Like I have to have all of these things. I can't just have like one good skill, because I don't have any damage in this build. Literally no damage. Like this. I mean that's a lie. Like I am invested in these staff damage nodes here, but aside from those, there's literally no damage in this build. And I grabbed a bunch of regen here, some defenses there, grabbed some life there, some stats. I grabbed the mana stuff here. You get the damage recoup, like, you know, damage mana recoup. Grab some regen here. And up here, grab more regen. Like there is literally no damage in this build. And the reason for that is that my goal was I wanted to do a block chance agnostic build with mind over matter. But I planned poorly, and you can see I wasted all of my refund points trying to fix it, and I couldn't. So this is where this character dies, because it just isn't worth continuing to play as this character. And that's the other lesson learned here. You know, like if you're going to do something spicy, like a build that is more for, does this actually work, than it is like, oh yeah, I can definitely do content with this. Then, you know, like you really gotta do the math right, and you gotta make sure that the way you plan is gonna work. Because this did not work at all. Like I can do stuff, I can still like run out there and probably make my way to Sharon and Brutus and do that fight. Maybe get to the Brine King, maybe get to Act 7. But I don't care. I don't want to push this character. This character isn't going to be any fun for me to play, because I'm going to need to do so much investment to get this build working. And it's not worth it. Like this is a next league, I'll reset you, and you know, like, and see where I go from there kind of build. I grabbed Bastion of Hope here for all of the extra block chance, which really doesn't matter. But just to show that if any of you are wondering if that's actually a possible thing, it is. I reset my my Hierophant just to prove it to myself that I wasn't on the wrong path. I just implemented it wrong. We can see doing that same setup with the Petrified Blood. But if I use my Dotaries here to consume basically kill half my life. You can see that my mana got hit and then came back, and because what that was happening there was it was refilling my life here. But but because I had Petrified Blood on, like I can't heal past this point. And obviously I don't have any attack skills on. I just wanted to like do the most basic things I could do with this build, just to prove to myself that it was possible. And it is. You can absolutely run the Agnostic by this point in the game. You just have to be mindful. So the main thing you have to watch out for if you want to run the Agnostic is that you're not letting your mana get too high. Because the way the Agnostic works is you burn 20% of your mana per second in order to recover health for that amount. So the higher your mana is, the higher your regen needs to be to meet that. So it's like trying to run Righteous Fire, but with far less significant results. This is entirely just for another source of damage mitigation. So, like we're using our mana pool both to reduce some of the damage we take and to heal back our health because it recovers so quickly through massive amounts of mana regen. And in order to make that work, you got to make sure that you are able to recover more than 20% of your mana per second. So here I'm running some Wanderlust that, they just have 24% mana regen, which isn't huge. Like I just wanted to throw enough mana regen on that I could say, okay, this is kind of what like it would be like to have a full set of gear on that has mana regen on it. So throw on that Wanderlust. I put on this Coral Ring that has actually a very nice amount of mana regen on it. I threw on this Sapphire Ring. Actually, no, sorry. The Sapphire Ring was already on this character. It was this I threw on for the regen. I threw on this Coral Amulet also because it had a tremendous amount of mana regen on it. That's a superb amount of mana regen sitting on a Coral Amulet. I put on a Heat Shiver because Heat Shiver has a ton of mana regen on it. So between those three and this, I get a very large amount of mana regen. And then in the build, I did the same thing, went through here. Got the Shaper, and I got this regen here. But this time I went and I grabbed these regen nodes here, because that's more mana regen. And I went up and I got these same regen nodes here to get the flat mana regen there, which is the only one in the entire tree. And I went up here and grabbed the Spell Block and Mystic Bulwark for the extra spell block chance, and to make it that every percentage of spell block we have also becomes mana regen. Then went out here, grabbed all the spell block chance over here, increased our max chance to block spell damage. Then down here, grab some more spell block while using a staff. And then, of course, the Agnostic and Mind over Matter. So it definitely works. It's just that I did it wrong. I messed up on my math and went very wrong directions right from the start, when I should have been aiming for way more mana regen than what I ended up with, because like I said, I did my math wrong. So yeah, so another lesson learned. Just like if you are trying to do something that isn't a build that you hear people talking about, that you don't see videos about, that you never hear anyone mentioning, hey, can you do an agnostic build by the time you reach part 2? Like if you want to like push to do some fun, like some weird thing like that, then you gotta really put in the work to to make sure that you're not wasting your time and that you're aiming for the correct upgrades every level. Yep. So those are my big lessons learned from this league. Hopefully, like if any of you are big on like just creating funny little builds like this, like I am, that this kind of helps you out in, like, if you haven't started the new league yet and you're trying to just come up with ideas for what you want to do, and hopefully like this is mind you, by the time this comes up, this because the league will probably have already been out for about a month by the time this league, I mean, not league, by the time this video goes up. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because at the time that I'm recording this, it's been exactly 1 week since the league launch. But by the time this video goes up, it's probably going to be January. Yes, I may need to move some videos around just so this goes up sooner, because it wouldn't make sense to offer these kind of insights when the league is almost over, you know. Yeah, so I'll probably, yeah, so I won't move Monday's video. I like this I'll have this go up after my Inquisitor build goes up. So if you saw my Inquisitor build, then you'll know that this was not in the lineup to go after that one. It was supposed to be weeks later, but I moved it up considerably just to offer this up. And here's the God's honest truth on this. I feel so bad for having recommended my Slayer build. Because like I really like my Slayer build. I think it's a really cool build. And it's worth playing. But for this league, like that's probably the worst thing that I could have recommended to people. And so I wanted to make sure I got my thoughts out there for like let people know. Yeah, if you want to do melee, this isn't it. You know, this isn't the league for you. This is absolutely a trap, mine, summon, hex. You know, this isn't anything but melee league. I know probably a lot of people who probably joke that every league is not a melee league, but I disagree. Like I think that melee can be fun. It can always be fun, and even in this league, it's still fun. It's just that if you want to get the most out of the league, you know, the league content, then you need to do something other than melee, because that's just the league that we're in right now. Yep, so that's all I gotta say. If any of you enjoyed listening to this old man talk about RPGs, then I appreciate doing all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.